On today's Stats of Interest, I'm going to talk about number one albums and best-selling albums and how the music industry has changed and give you some numbers because that's the kind of thing that I enjoy. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. First, though, I now realize that this hat makes me look like a douchebag hipster and I've got to stop. That's got to go. I'm not a douchebag hipster. I'm an idiot man-child. It's very clear. Okay, anyway. So let's talk about the Grammys to start with. What I find interesting is that every year, there's a best-selling album, and the number of albums that it requires to be best-selling varies wildly. But what I found doing some research was that the Grammys, which are supposed to reward, the best album of the year artistically, theoretically, that it's very strange how that does not sync up with the album sales. So, for example, as of 2017, there have been 59 Grammys given out for Album of the Year. And out of those, only 12 of those were given to the album that was also the best-selling album of the year, which is about almost right at 20%. It's just slightly over. So, really only 12 times has the album of the year been the best-selling album of that year. And frankly, out of that, two of them were Adele albums. You've got 21 and 25. To the shock of nobody, Adele sells a lot of albums, and people think she's also very artistic, so that's nice. In case you're curious, I am. The other artists that have been best-selling and Grammy-winning album of the year were Henry Mancini from Peter Gunn, Simon & Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water, Fleetwood Mac Rumors, which was a great choice, of course, great album. The Bee Gees, Saturday Night Fever. Billy Joel, 52nd Street. And then you hit the 80s, you get Michael Jackson's Thriller, George Michael's Faith, Whitney Houston Bodyguard, Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, Taylor Swift Fearless, and then, like I said, the two Adele albums. So that'd be it. That's the 12. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting is, like I said, the number of albums that it takes to get to best-selling is going to vary a lot. So the record industry has changed a lot, and I think we all know that you're not buying albums, you're buying individual songs most of the time, or downloads. So as a result, like Justin Timberlake's 2020 Experience, which was the best-selling album in 2013, only sold 2.4 million copies, which is a lot of copies, fine, of an album. But by contrast, Adele's 25 sold over 3 times that many in 2015 alone, and it was also the best-selling album in 2016. So, and that's not even counting those copies. So Justin Timberlake just was the king of kind of a light year. To give you an example, when you go all the way back to like 99 and 2000, where we have Backstreet Boys and NSYNC back-to-back best-selling albums, they each sold just south of 10 million albums in that year alone for that one album. So compared to now, like I said, there's 4 times as much as a Justin Timberlake album. Clever edit. You didn't even notice it. Anyway, one thing I found interesting was about Bruce Springsteen, who is one of the best-selling artists of all time. Bruce Springsteen's had 11 number one albums, but oddly enough, he's never had a number one single. And to me, that's interesting that you have so many artists that sell a lot or have long careers without hit singles. And now that's not as uncommon because of the way radio play and internet play works. But throughout the 80s, especially 70s, 80s, 90s, radio play and singles were what drove album sales. And to never have a number one song but 11 number one albums is kind of impressive. I will point out, however, that I probably would challenge just about any person on this planet to name the last 5 number one albums he's had, because you're going to hit Born in the USA, and then, maybe after that you can go a couple of albums later, get like that. Well, there was that River one, but then you wind up with some just really obscure titles that I've never even heard of beyond in stats. So, well, I'm going to wrap this up, but just remember, if you take one thing away from this, it's this: Adele is saving the music industry right now. Bye.